My name is Cintia Segovia, and I'm from Mexico City. I came here 9 years ago, and I have a background on television. I used to be a post-production coordinator in production in Televisa. And so there I picked up a lot of the things that I was interested on and the things that I didn't like about Mexican culture, like the machismo and the way that women were portrayed. I was inspired by the presidential campaign 2016. I was thinking about the rhetoric of the candidate, now President Donald Trump, about how the Mexicans were these people that were crossing the border illegally, and we needed to build a wall, and it was going to be a beautiful wall, but it was going to be big. And I was thinking about these ideas of masculinity, as well as the idea of putting a border, as if we could disentangle these two cultures that are actually very much entangled, and they inform each other. So in this video, I talk about building a wall, which is in front of me as a newscaster, and I'm building it with Mexican products that are like, they look Mexican, but they are actually owned by American companies. And I also talk about stereotypes about women. So for example, there is a part when I have a pineapple on my head, and I talk about Chiquita Banana and how many of the stereotypes about Latinas is like how exotic we are and how we look totally different. And I feel very lucky to have been chosen for this exhibition because the works that are around my own work are so strong. And when I met all the artists in the opening, I felt that we had a connection about how we want to make this like world better. I know this sounds cheesy, but truly like it feels that we all have ideas that are kind of like going into the same like vision that we have for how America should be and how it should be for this diverse population that we have here. So that's why I really love this show, and it's my favorite show of the year. Thank you.
At the spring is at spring water, my husband may turn with the electricity for having horses knocking off. You can remember us. Every the whole team of when everything was done, the final piece, like the cool moisture,
like so many sea plant scraps washed in by waves, shoved against the rocks. But it is as clear today as it ever was, this memory of your body, your mind, swelling, tight as a ghost stream.
Open your mouth! Juliet! Jag vill ha Jerusalem.
Hi, my name is Brandon Andrew. I'm an LA-based artist. I grew up in Los Angeles in the 90s, which is a very different time. I left for 10 years before returning as an artist. And I am trained in sculpture, but I'm non-medium specific. My piece in the show is a white stuccoed panel with neon floated in front of it, vaguely referencing an abstraction of Goofy. The piece that this body of work comes out of is a body of work focusing on Disney and how he created Goofy as a good-natured N-word boy, are the words he uses in his creation of Goofy. In '34, when animators were drawing Goofy and writing for Goofy, you'd have 20 to 30 people working on a single minute of animation, so you had to build a muscle memory. And so for this work, I spent the 3 months of building the muscle memory of drawing Goofy. And in doing so, basically reperforming the white supremacy that we're all kind of like trained into, and how like our love for Goofy is actually a trauma of white power, and like how that presents itself is this projection of color onto this banal white surface. So it's in some sense performing blackface, and how the beauty of that plays itself out, and it's comforting yet terrifying, and the trauma of abstraction and how whiteness and white power kind of play in contemporary culture. For a larger community to understand the context of LA as this like cultural mechanism, and how it produces and promotes all these things. And while the work is like beautiful and abstract, what's happening below the artifice is much darker and scarier.
Hi, my name is Alex Nazari. I'm from California. I've been working and living in Los Angeles for some time now. I make work right now mostly kind of about pearls and jewelry and history of adornment. And this sculpture that I made kind of is like a copy of an earring that was given to me. It's like a family heirloom. It's a specific family heirloom, but it's also such a generic kind of form, and everyone kind of has these in their family. And we ascribe so much meaning to them, and I think it's interesting, but one person's pearl earring is not very different from another one's. And then I also think of it art historically, like the way that pearls are part of history. Even the word like Baroque comes from like a Baroque pearl, which is like an irregularly formed pearl. Dutch still life paintings, girl with a pearl earring. There's just so much kind of pearls in the world. My favorite pearl is called La Pellegrina, and it was discovered by a slave off the coast of Panama, and it was traded for his freedom, and then it bounced around the European royal monarchy, and then eventually Richard Burton bought it for Elizabeth Taylor. One of her dogs almost swallowed it in her Las Vegas hotel room, and then actually recently Kathy Opie photographed that same jewelry, that same pearl for her body of work about Elizabeth Taylor's house. So it's just interesting that you can kind of use this as like kind of like a tracker of certain ideas in certain places.